Hello everyone, I'm Lost. This is what I loved, liked, and didn't love about the Duskbloods. So here's what happened in my favorite moment in the network test. Problem is I can't show it to you as Nintendo's lawyers will shove a lawsuit so far up my arse my dentist could read it. But don't worry, I made a recreation. So I made it to the final three. It was John Duskbloods, Pajama Jan, and me as the sniper. Now the first thing that I did was that I ran over to the corner and hid behind a pillar. They didn't notice that though, so they engaged in a furious battle. They went and ooh. It was actually super engaging stuff, cinematic levels of quality. Now whenever one of them got the upper hand, I would pop out of my hidey hole and take a shot at them, hurting them just enough to level the playing field. Eventually, one of them died, and you would think at this point they would go after me, but no, I just stood there, perfectly still, nobody noticed, and they engaged again. This time I of course decided to help the guy who only had 1 health, and the process repeated. So when they got to the very final part of their fight, they were both super low, one of them killed the other, and that's when I popped out from behind my pillar and shot him in his face. Was that a bitch move? Absolutely! I loved the structure. It's super unique. Quickly summarized, the game is all about collecting virtue. You do this by killing enemies, mini-bosses, lighting candles, and achieving objectives. If you suck at finding virtue, or you just get unlucky, you will find yourself at the bottom of the scoreboard, and at the end of the round, you die, you lose, and your dad will text you a message telling you how disappointed he is in you, which may be harsh, but hey, he's finally talking to me again, you. This structure should allow for different approaches. I say should because certain methods of gaining virtue were just better than others. A really fun way of earning virtue was the Star Shard. You grab a shiny ball that falls from the heavens, and if you hold on to it to the end of the round, you get virtue. When I was holding it and hunted by other players, that was great! But it only gives you about 10 virtue, 15 if you got 2 of them, and that's not enough. A good change here would be that the Star Shard slowly gives you virtue. If you can hold on to it for the entire match, you will slowly earn 20 virtue, maybe less in the beginning and then even more at the end, so other players have an incentive to try to take it from you. And at the end of the round, you get another 5 virtue if you survive with the actual shiny ball. Now my favorite approach was to go down into the sewer with either the sniper or Pajama Jan and kill the werewolf looking guys while also looking for candles to light. Pajama Jan was great at this because his charged heavy pancaked the enemies, and while they were getting back up, you get another charged heavy off, so you basically infinitely stunlock them. At the end of phase 2 and 3, there is a brawl in a designated zone where you can really get a ton of virtue if you kill people and or capture zones. In my experience, if you got to 70 virtue, you would most likely get to the final battle. Of course, you gotta balance out virtue farming with preparing for the end battle. See, you gotta upgrade your sidekick. I didn't mention that, but the sidekick is a big deal in this game for both good and bad. You need to level them up, you need to level yourself up, you need to find upgrades for your skills, get perks for your weapons, like damage or passive health regen. Unsurprisingly, a fully upgraded weapon has a massive impact. Now in the full game, there is going to be a dedicated killer role as well, according to an IGN interview, which will change things up quite drastically, I think, but that was not available to us in the network test. I know that this is an unfair criticism to level at the game, but playing with the Nintendo Joy-Cons was awful. I really have to invest in a Pro Controller because I had a hard time playing with something designed to fit in the hands of a 12-year-old. And I have big manly hands. I need everybody who watches this video to know I have big manly hands. Now, of course, this means that I now have to make another financially irresponsible decision just to have a good time playing the game. Ugh. The combat was quick and for the most part fluid. The game incentivizes aggression, which is great. I was apprehensive about all of the jumping around that you can do since I prefer the more measured pace of Elden Ring, but I got used to it. With such verticality, jumping is necessary. I like that we have different characters that play differently. It makes specific approaches to a match more viable. Some of the characters, like the sniper lady for instance, will have a much easier time in PvE, but it will struggle in PvP when players discover how to use their shields. There is also the opportunity for some great moments where you as Sork or the Senator will throw people off ledges, which is super funny as long as it doesn't happen to you. The real question, however, is about depth. Right now, it's hard to differentiate between spamming and high-skilled play. I hope that the game gives us the option of dueling our friends to properly figure that out in a controlled environment. The game can get very chaotic at times. 3 different players, all with their own sidekicks out, makes it difficult to get a handle on the situation. Many a time I was about to murder someone when I was shot off screen by a summon, saving my intended victim. And the opposite as well, I was dodging perfectly when I was hit in the face by a fireball and then got sliced to pieces. It can be super frustrating. I also wasn't a fan of the alliance system. 2 people who know what they're doing and who has summons will destroy you. This was particularly effective during the ritual side brawls. If the non-team players decided to fight each other instead of focusing on the team, then you have no chance. And it doesn't stop there. In this one particular match during the final battle, I ended up against 2 players who had teamed up during the previous phases. And of course both of those guys went after me first, just ganking the hell out of me. This didn't happen too often, but I can see this becoming a problem. Now luckily you can play the game with no alliances, so I'll probably do that for the most part, but still. You can get perks by killing certain special enemies or fighting it around the map. These are Night Rain style perks like Heavy Charged Attack fires poison at enemies, or Perfect Block raises attack for a time, and more. You also get extra special perks from the major bosses like health back on every hit when you defeat the vampire boss. There is also this interesting dynamic at play here. You will learn quickly which enemies gives good or relevant perks. The blood bugs, for example, gives character skill buffs, and if I'm playing as the sniper lady, I'll probably ignore those because the skills are so PvE focused that they will be a waste of time in the last PvP battle. Of course, if the last phase of the game is more of a boss battle or PvE, well now we're talking, that's different. I have touched on these guys a bit, consensually, but I want to go a bit deeper into them. I'm a child. John Duskbloods, this is the main guy. He's overall pretty good. Very flexible, something that will probably make him a mainstay on the top half of the leaderboard. His Blood Wave does some damage and is straight out of Elden Ring. His Laser Beam, great for PvE. But I have to say, I found him comparatively boring. Pajama Jan. Marvelous character design, perfect. My wife told me that he gives off the vibes of a man-baby serial killer. His axe, as previously stated, pancakes certain enemies, making it easy to harvest that sweet, sweet virtue. He's also got a super dodge that I didn't care for, but his massive AoE is great, even if it's a bit hard to land on other players. I also enjoyed his flamethrower, as it was the most different of the ranged attacks. Sork. Everybody loves Sork. I played a match where every player was Sork. The final battle was just me and the 2 other guys trying to human rocket the other ones off the ledge. His missile attack is great against big boss enemies, but I think once people figure him out, Sork is gonna struggle with the PvP, considering his kit is easily readable. The Sniper Lady. This is the character I enjoyed the most. Her sniper is great. It one-shot most of the smaller enemies, which I found to be very satisfying. It also staggered enemies fairly often, which was a boon, which means that you can take out wolfmen easily. Combining her with the fat summon in a wheelchair was great, because the summon would take aggro and I could just sit back and decimate the enemy's health. She's got a get the fuck out of there special, which I didn't use much, but her Gatling gun was fantastic against the bigger bosses. For PvP, her sniper will do some serious damage, but just like Sork, since her kit is so focused on the PvE, I think she'll probably struggle once people are wise to her tricks. The Chinese Lady. Outside of her looking fantastic in that dress, I didn't like her too much. I did however talk with Stilovsky, he's one of my PvP friends, and due to some frame data stuff, according to him, she might be one of the best characters in that regard for PvP. Also, her snake attack will go through walls, so that's cool. As for her invisibility, I don't know. It does seem to lose some utility towards the end, but I'm kind of unsure on this one. The Senator. I mean, this man can turn into a dinosaur. That alone is hilarious. Tossing people off ledges during the final battle will never not be fun. Memes aside, he is in my estimation the best character in the game. His abilities are great both for PvE and PvP, you can't go wrong with this guy. Maybe I'm just getting to be an old Souls veteran at this point, but I found the enemies in this game to be more on the easy side. I suppose it also helps that we have a sidekick that can take aggro for us, but even when I was alone, I found it to be fairly simple to avoid attacks and get behind the enemy. Very often I managed to get them stuck on a fountain or a small, broken chair. I wish I could show that. And I think that's all fine, quite frankly, because overly complex attack patterns here would not be a benefit, because it would slow you down too much. I think easy enemies are better here. I'm gonna be a little bit apprehensive here, because a lot of people have told me differently, but I think the performance was solid. I was half expecting a disaster after the cancelled network session, but it ran smoothly for the most part for me. Will this game have longevity? With 2 more maps, 4 more characters, and an unknown number of map events, my guess is that you will be happy with your dollars to time spent playing ratio. It does strike me as a more casual game, very much how Super Smash Bros. Is a party game first and a serious competitive game second. My big hope for the game is that it will be full of those amazing moments where you go, whoa! See, maybe you didn't win the match, but you sniped another player from the other side of the map, dinoed the guy off the ledge, or you managed to evade 3 players all hunting you for the star shard. Having a wide selection of map events, or missions in the game, will be crucial in this aspect, I suspect. There is a lot more as well that comes with a full game, like character customization, and we don't know the impact of that. We don't know the impact of dedicated invader player. That could give the game a whole nother level, and we can't really talk about that because it wasn't in the test. Here, at the end here, if I get to be a little selfish, right? I am worried about the game because it's a Switch exclusive. So I wonder how much interest there will be in this game from a content creator point of view. I remember when Demon's Souls came out on the PlayStation 5 and people were not interested in that at all because, well, nobody got to play the game themselves, so there wasn't any interest. But this is new. FromSoft made Elden Ring. There should be plenty of hype. And I have heard a lot of people say that, well, I can't buy it myself, so I watch you play it. Which is exciting. I am very willing to be proven wrong here. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe, enjoy your evening, and enjoy my kisses.